A premium account.
You're listening to the Ballroom Network. The following program is intended for all audiences. Welcome to the South Burbs Hitmen podcast with your hosts, Joe Mandel, Steven Zimmerman, and Vinnie Parisi. We're bringing you the White Sox coverage you need from the perspective of true Southsiders. Grab your Kaminsky dog with an ice-cold beer and meet us in section 155. Everyone get on your feet for your South Burbs Hitmen!
That ball hit deep! Way back! You can put it on the board! Yes! Jimenez in the air! Left field! He's your hero tonight! Thanks, Cubs! Over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series! Alexei! Yes! 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 History! A perfect game by Mark Burley, and what an unbelievable play by 21!
First pitch starts now.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another fantastic edition of South Burbs Hitmen. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mandel, and I'm joined, as always, by my White Sox brothers in arms. I'm talking about Steven Zimmerman and Vinnie Parisi. Gentlemen, what's the good word?
I can't stop laughing at that part. That was unbelievable. That was so awesome.
Yeah, Zim had the best pre-show fart of the season so far.
Oh my god.
And
that was awesome.
The craziest part of it all is, like, I was waiting for the show to go live, and it was just spinning and spinning. And that's because, as of today, Vin, you might not even know this, you have to have a premium account on X enabled to broadcast a show. So all those accounts, my account, the South Burbs account, all cannot broadcast the show because they are not premium accounts.
Damn.
So I just retweeted it on all those platforms.
Damn.
Well,
that's crazy. Why would they do that?
I don't know, but that's new as of today. Elon.
That makes about as much sense as most White Sox lineups lately.
But I can retweet it and people can see it that way. So it's like the same thing. So anyway, gents, Zim, nice fart to start the show. Fantastic.
Thank you. Take
quality work. I don't know if anyone in the chat room actually heard how that came out, because with that spinning, I have no idea when we actually went live. So you could have heard me saying, we're not live yet. We're not live yet. And all of a sudden Zim just goes and just lets it rip. So that's what it's all about, folks. So, baseball talk. Right now, we have the All-Star game festivities going. You got the Home Run Derby, I believe, still in the first round. Last time I checked, I think. Man, I just had it queued up, and now I can't remember.
It's still in the first round.
Travis didn't hear the fart. Damn, Travis.
I thought for sure it made it.
Yeah, you got to go back to the top of the show. I'll go back and listen after the show's over to see if, like, it's right when we go live. We always do a fart, so we'll have to see. But anyway, Home Run Derby's in the first round, and it's always fun watching the Derby, guys. We usually do a show where we talk about the Derby and other things going on. And of course, we had the MLB draft yesterday and today. White Sox making a little bit of noise there, at least with their first round pick. Most people seem fairly confident that Hagen Smith is going to be fantastic left-hander for this organization. Guy's a bit of a fireballer. Like his attitude. He's kind of one of those cool guys. So, Vin, I'll spit it to you first. Thoughts on overall a 5th pick at Hagen Smith and what he could do for this White Sox team.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Hagen Smith pick. Now, I kind of went in thinking they were going to draft a hitter because they sorely lack power in the minor leagues. They sorely lack it in their overall prospect farm. But I can't stress enough how bad I think this team is at developing power hitters anyway. So, why, until they figure out the root of that problem, why would I be in a rush to go draft a first baseman DH, which is something that the White Sox have kind of had a surplus of over the last handful of years, and they couldn't even really turn a single one of them into a star hitter. So, and they have had success with left-handed pitchers and even right-handed pitchers, just pitching in general. Chris Sale, Jose Quintana, Lucas Giolito, Dylan Cease, Kopech until this year. The White Sox do well pitching. As much as I like to make fun of them and talk about their shortcomings, there's no doubt they develop pitching well. Other teams want Garrett Crochet. Okay, other teams want, look what happened to Reynaldo Lopez and Aaron Bummer and all these other guys the White Sox have developed. When you're on a bad team, sometimes it's hard to stay at the peak. But, for the most part, they're good at developing pitching. I hope this new era of young arms, maybe including Crochet, but we've seen Drew Thorpe play so well to start his MLB career. Noah Schultz is in the minor leagues, ready to come up at any point, probably, I don't know, soon, by the end of the year. And then now you got Hagen, who is a left-handed pitcher from Arkansas. I said Hagen Smith. You play SEC baseball, you're that dominant, you're going to get drafted high. A lot of people in the White Sox organization had some nice things to say about him. So, with everything considered, I like the pick.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I hope this kid pans out. Listen, I'm with you, Vin. This team, you've got to play to your strengths. Everyone knows, even, when we had Ecknerwall on a couple weeks ago, he talked about pitching. This team is all about pitching right now. And adding another quality left-hander is a no-brainer. I mean, it seems to me like this team knows what to do in that regard. I mean, maybe not so much in terms of offense, but Zim, how you like the pick?
I hate it. I mean, to be completely honest, as more of the meatball fan out of the three of us, I would say at times, to me, the pick is a clear sign that they're just mailing it in for another year. They're making the easy pick, which is fine in that regard. Yeah, you should take the no-duh pick when it's there for you. And when a guy of this caliber is there at number 5, it's kind of a no-duh pick. But to me, it screams that they're trading Garrett Crochet in the next 3 weeks. You don't draft a guy like this unless you foresee that move coming, in my opinion, because this guy is just Crochet 2.0. He's Crochet with more years of control. He's expected, his major league timeline right now, as of today, draft day, he is expected to be in the majors by mid-season next year. So, yeah, it's awesome that you've got that good of a prospect at the 5th spot in the draft. That's not always easy to do. But what's the reason that guy's going to be in the pros? Well, it's going to because there's a hole that you made in your own rotation by trading your ace left-handed pitcher in hopes that this guy can become your next ace left-handed pitcher. It is just another step in the endless cycle of White Sox nonsense where they continue to just do the same thing year after year after year. Get a prospect, develop a prospect, trade a prospect.
Just think about it, though. If they do keep Crochet and they have Thorpe, they have this new guy. I mean, their rotation's immediately looking really good. Now, if they do trade Crochet, and I know we're going to talk about trade scenarios and all that fun stuff, but you would hope that a pitcher of his caliber with the control he has commands a crazy return, right?
It's very possible, but he's not as established as Dylan Cease.
No,
and he has the
that's
same
true.
amount of control, and he's only slightly younger. So
With more injury history, yeah.
With more injury history, when you look at it, when you take your White Sox hat off and you look at this player objectively, what do we have here? We have a 26-year-old coming off of Tommy John, expected to be heavily limited in the second half of the year on his pitch count, with only 2 years of team control and no establishment prior to this season. Granted, he's been amazing this season. He doesn't have anything to back it up. So why would you sell the farm for this kid if you're Baltimore, if you're Atlanta,
Sure.
if you're, a team looking to compete this year and fill in that gap? Why would you give anything up for him?
With you talking about
He's
Crochet,
not better than Cease is the fact that he's a lefty. And even
correct.
still, that's only better to some teams.
So when you were talking there, it made me think of something. You're talking about this, and I was coming off Tommy John. He's unestablished. All I can think of when you say that is this sounds just like Carlos Rodon. The age is not there. He's a younger version. But even when Rodon was that top prospect coming up, he had injuries. He was down. He was up. He was down. If you're the White Sox, you got to have to be thinking in the back of your head a little bit like, we can't repeat that. We got to get something for him while we can. So that's the first time I ever had that thought while you were talking through that, and I just had to share what I was thinking.
It makes sense. Like it is something to consider. But again, what are you honestly going to get for him? You either have to get a deal that you say right now, yes, that's above and beyond what we expected. This is it. Or you have to gamble and try next year, in which he's in a contract year effectively, where teams are going to be a lot less likely to trade for him if he's having a similar type of season to this season. And it's not because of, I don't want to say they're less likely to trade for him. They're less likely to give you as good of a package for him because it's not as favorable to them anymore. When it becomes a less favorable deal, it drops off. So I don't know. It's a really bad situation. I don't trust the White Sox to handle it properly or correctly or reasonably. And frankly, if Garrett Crochet stays on this team, I expect him to be the worst pitcher in baseball in 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
That's where I was going to say.
Why would you expect anything else from this organization?
I was going to say, if you're another team, how could you be not flat out petrified that Crochet is having a flash in a pan on a team that's 26 and 70 or whatever they are? Like, I think they were 27 and 70. Like, that's just insane to think like he would fall off that much because he's been so good. But like, would it really shock you all that much if Garrett Crochet was trash next year? I hope not. I truly hope not. And I'm not as worried about injury only because every pitcher has Tommy John once. And that was his time. And he probably should have had it after 2020, but he rehabbed it in the winter and he pitched all of 2021. He's probably a little more of an established star by now if he just got it over with after the 2020 season. But hype, wanting to play in the big leagues, that made the White Sox make a bad decision. And he pitched all that time, and the Tommy John was delayed a year. He missed all of 2022 and most of 2023. So, there are a lot of things that they could have done differently. But if I were another team, and this is why I wouldn't trade him if I'm the White Sox, because I agree with Zim. I don't think they're getting the return that people think they're going to for all these different reasons that we just laid out. And so I think it's more worth it for the White Sox to kind of just hope he continues to pitch well, because the return you're not going to get doesn't outweigh the possibility that he might actually still be good for them in 3 years.
There's only one way I think that he gets moved now that we talk. And my buddy Nick talked to me about this, so I'll give him a shout out. is if somehow they can, and I talked about this briefly last week, but if they can pigeonhole Andrew Benintendi into the deal and have the Yankees eat his contract.
That would be
That's
so
not
hard
happening.
to do.
It's not
I also
happening.
wouldn't. Are they going to be, what does Benintendi have left? 2 more years after this?
I believe it's 2. Yes.
If it's 2 or 3, the White Sox going to be any good during that time?
Negative.
Who cares? Who cares if
Yep.
they have to pay him? It's not like in hockey, I'd want him gone even if my team was horrible, because I'd be getting rid of all that salary cap money. And you can try and become unhorrible if you free up all that space.
Mm-hmm.
But in baseball, the White Sox are going to be trash whether they spend $200 million next year or $200 next year. And there's really nothing anybody could do about it. So I'm not using getting rid of Benintendi as a reason to move Crochet.
I'm with you. I'm just talking out loud here. And
Now,
Yeah, I see the logic.
do we trust the White Sox not to do that, though?
No.
That's what it
no.
also boils down to.
Also
Of
why we're
course
saying
not.
it. By the way, guys, Jose Ramirez just hit his 20th. He's currently at bat in his bonus round with 2 outs left. So we'll see what happens there.
It looks like he's
And he just hit 21. He advances.
oh yeah, there you
He
go.
is now
He's
guaranteed to advance.
Yep, because there's still 2 guys left. Ozuna from the Braves and Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling Zim before we went live that Ramirez was my pick to win the whole thing.
Oh, nice.
I'm really surprised a White Sox pitcher isn't throwing to him right now, and he's hitting all these home runs.
I know.
Yeah.
He should have. Any pitcher from the staff. It doesn't matter who it is.
You picked Jose to win, Joe?
I did.
Did you put any
I
little
did
thing
not.
on that?
I should have. I should have put like $5.
I didn't put anything on it except there's this local tavern that has like this Facebook contest. If you guess the winner of the home run derby right, you win like I forget, there was a gift card. And I entered. I did Bobby Witt Jr. So right now he's in line to advance. We'll see if he gets booted out, but there's a chance.
We shall see.
He should be in. There's only one guy left. Oh,
I
and
thought
Ozuna.
2 guys were left. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one guy, and then there's Ozuna.
Yeah, Zim and I panned Ozuna before we went live, so that means he's going to win it now.
Like, there's
We're like, oh, what's he doing here? And not watch, he's going to win.
That
we'll see.
stuff like that happens. Like when John Scott won MVP at the All-Star game. Like,
Right.
he shouldn't be at the All-Star game.
But then he
has,
actually
7
scored,
goals.
like- yeah,
He scored twice.
yeah. I was gonna say he scored 2 in
twice.
that game. Yeah,
Yeah, and then he gets the car for being the MVP. Like, so Ozuna winning this thing it wouldn't be quite that level because Ozuna is like a pretty good player. John Scott, I think his career high in goals was 5. But but I mean, it's funny how it works out that way sometimes.
yeah, for sure.
He probably had the longest odds, right? I'm looking at the list right now. Maybe
You'd have to imagine.
because Bobby Witt Jr. he's not known as a home run hitter. I think he has like 16 or something. But
Yeah, but when he was a kid, he would mash. I'm talking like his high school days. Like,
yeah,
that's
and I
what
think
got
like
people's attention.
it's not his game to be like a 35 home run guy by this point. Like he's just so all around, and he's from Texas. He's one of the MVP candidates. I don't know. That pick was just it felt good, but we'll see.
Look at Todd Frazier at the desk for the home run derby. Former White Sox.
This actually had Alec Baum at the worst odds to win at plus 2,400.
Wow.
He's currently in first place.
Yeah, what?
Crazy. Jose
Todd
Ramirez was at plus 1,400 as well.
Oh,
I should have made that $5 bet.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
It's a long way to go. Every year I pick the wrong person. So maybe this is
Right.
the first time I get it right. I don't know.
So
We were talking Sox draft, guys. Do we want to talk about Caleb Bonemer?
I'll be honest, I haven't looked very far into any of the other picks after
He's
my
a high school pick.
He is a high school pick out of your neck of the woods, right?
That's a great question. I don't know. He's a,
It's Michigan for sure.
All I saw was it's Michigan, but that's a pretty big state. So
well,
And
my
there's
neck of-
two separate peninsulas, like very far from each other.
yeah. When you say my neck of the woods, I was like, I actually don't know what part of Michigan, but it's
He's
a big
from
state.
Okemos, Michigan. Let's see where that is on the map.
that sounds like a Yooper if I ever heard it.
Oh,
Joe, it's not terribly far from you. It's
Oh.
more north, more centralized. But I think you would go through your neck of the woods to get there.
Yeah.
sure. Here's some highlights from his high school team.
Where is he playing that there's mountains? What?
That's a great question. He must be
Sorry,
traveling.
that's my. I know that's not the thing we should be looking at, but it's a White Sox player, so it's hard to get excited. I just.
Oh, there's palm trees here, so
All right, so he's not in Michigan for either of these. Understood.
Yeah. Michigan State University is a town over.
Got it.
okay. Yeah, I know where Michigan State is.
And he is an outfield prospect,
Shortstop.
shortstop.
Yeah, he was playing infield in the last clip we saw.
Okay. I'm getting him mixed up with somebody they drafted later today. Anyway, okay, so a shortstop. Why do they need like 1,000th shortstop in their system?
That's a great question. He's a high school player. It's a long-term.
Right. It's definitely a
Investment?
long-term development.
I mean, believe me, he's a highly touted high school player. He wouldn't be going in the second round otherwise. But
Yeah, absolutely. It is very hard for high school kids to get drafted that highly.
I think of shortstop. I always go back to this, but it's the thing I can relate to the most. In hockey, 90% of forwards are drafted as centers. How many of them actually play center in the National Hockey League?
Right.
15%, 20%.
Yeah.
A lot of them move to the wing. You could be gifted offensive all you want in junior and college, whatever it is. And then when you get to the NHL, it's just a tad bit harder to play center than it is wing. You have an extra 50 feet of responsibility. I feel very similarly about shortstop in Major League Baseball. A lot of infielders are drafted as shortstops because when you're in high school, when you're in college, the most athletic player on each team pitches 1 out of every 5 days and he plays short the rest of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get to the MLB, do you have major league range at shortstop? No. Okay, I'm going to move you to second base, but because you're still a really good hitter. Okay, you're a really good hitter. You don't have the range at shortstop, but man, your arm is a cannon. All right, you can play third base. I see it very similarly. It's my comparison between shortstops and centers in hockey. Like you could be drafted as that, but your skills might show once you get to the highest level that you kind of need the lighter version of it.
Right. No, it makes a lot of sense. And now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure Moncada was actually a shortstop up until his time with the White Sox. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Thank you for talking me off that cliff, Vinny.
it's all good, man. And it's, of course, we were ripping on Ozuna, and he's off to a nice start here. He's, what's that, 15? Is it 15? Nope, 14. That's at the breaking. That's at the break, right?
Yeah, this is before his bonus round. These new rules, man, like I get them, to try to make the event move a little quicker. They're the most convoluted they've ever been for the home run derby. And I don't know that it's necessary. I almost wish they would go back to the 10 outs format.
Yeah.
Because, you could be done in 10 pitches. That keeps it moving along.
Well, I think they want to make it an event. That's why they want it to be longer.
Which is fair.
They keep changing it every 5 or so years, even just if they change it just a little bit, because the United States of America has the attention span of a pine cone. So we need to keep rotating it every, couple years. Like now they have it where there's this X number of pitches. The bonus round changes all the time. The clock added an element of like excitement because human being versus clock is exciting in every language. But
Sure.
the 10 outs thing that just makes me think of the home run derby. Like that's what it was. Like
Yeah.
you get 10 outs. Any ball contact that doesn't go over the fence in fair territory is an out. And I thought it was cool. The guys were more selective with their pitches. That part I get. And nobody wants to see the battery of a fake catcher and some guy's dad play catch for 4 hours. But because that does happen with the 10-out format. But, I think guys are more selective. They're more likely to hit the baseball to Pluto because they're going to wait for that pitch. So there are pros and there's cons to it all, but I do enjoy watching it even to this day.
That's it. I mean, it's one of the greatest like one night event in sports. It's like the home run derby and the slam dunk contest.
Yeah.
If
they happened a second night, you wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. But the slam dunk contest has gotten so boring in recent years. Like even NBA fans, who are a diehard group of individuals, even they I've heard say, this is not fun anymore. This is boring. This is lame. Who's watching this?
Don't they not put like good dunkers even though like
a lot of the times not anymore? No. I mean, how's this? LeBron James he's been in this league for 21 seasons. He has never been in a slam dunk contest.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, how many of the most iconic images over the last 21 years are a LeBron James dunk?
Yeah.
There's at least a handful.
Sure.
100%.
So it's not like the dude couldn't do it, but that's one of those things. That's why it was so fun to see Dwight Howard in it the years that he was, because he was probably the best dunker in the league. I firmly believe if it wasn't for the slam dunk contest, Zach LaVine never would have been heralded as a good player. He would have been no different than like, who's like an Otto Porter Jr., a guy who had a good run for a few seasons, but like, then you realize like, all right, this is kind of a sham. But, at the same time, I think a lot of people felt that way about Aaron Gordon when he won his first dunk competition, and he's turned out to be a pretty good player in the NBA. So regardless, it's neither here nor there. Slam dunk competitions will never be the same. Yeah, Travis brought up a good one with Nate Robinson winning, and especially because he beat out Dwight Howard to win it by dunking over Dwight Howard, who is 7 foot plus tall. It was awesome. But that's the other thing. Like how do you top it anymore? There came a point where Blake Griffin jumped over a car, and it's like, what?
What are we going to do to top this? Yeah.
You're going to skydive into the arena and dunk, but people felt the same way when Jordan went from the free throw line, and they upped it all the way to jumping over cars. So we'll see what happens next.
Hoorah, baby. Well, I'd say that's enough MLB draft talk. I mean, we have an image of all the picks that the White Sox made. Obviously, they went pitching. They had some outfielders, a relief pitching. We got a catcher in there from Texas A&M.
Oh, yeah. I saw they drafted the kid out of IMG. That guy has me kind of interested because IMG usually produces really high caliber players. So.
Yeah, so interesting to see how these players turn out. Obviously, we're on the All-Star break, so we don't have to subject ourselves to any White Sox baseball here for a couple days. So we got the All-Star game tomorrow. You guys excited about that?
I am, especially the beginning of it.
I'm probably blacked out from it. So,
what are you looking forward to the most, Finn?
I am very excited to see Paul Skeens face Juan Soto and Aaron Judge in the first inning. That is going to be so sick. I hope that's what the lineup looks like for the American League All-Stars. But seeing Paul Skeens, no matter who it is in the AL's got some dogs that are going to be batting. And I would very much like to see Paul Skeens. As someone who will be rooting for the AL in the long run of the game, in the first inning, I think I would be poetry if Paul Skeens just comes in and mows down every single one of them. I would love it. I would love it. It's like when Japan was playing USA in the World Baseball Classic. I wanted Team USA to win so bad until the ninth inning when Ohtani faced Trout. I felt in every fiber of my bones that I wanted Ohtani to strike out Trout on a nice 3-pitch mix There are just some storylines that, may be more exciting than what I'm rooting for.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to see what Garrett Crochet does, how much work he gets. I'm assuming he'll get 1 inning, you would hope. See what he can do against some quality National League hitters.
Probably a whole lot of nothing, but we'll see.
I will say White Sox pitchers usually do really well.
In the All-Star game, that's fair, yeah. So,
and then I just jinxed him. He's gonna get just smacked around tomorrow.
I mean, there's always some unforeseen things that come out, some exciting things that happen in the All-Star games. So I'm sure we'll get, one cool moment or 2 or 5 or whatever. But overall, like, I don't know. There haven't been that many captivating storylines in MLB this year other than Aaron Judge again hitting 1 million home runs and Paul Skeens just like meteoric rise. So those guys will be done after, the first couple of innings. And beyond that, I mean, as a White Sox fan, there's not much to look forward to. And as a baseball fan, it's an all-star game. You kick back and enjoy it.
One thing that
invested.
For sure. One thing that we do need to address, and I texted you guys all about this the other day. Why did Garrett Crochet only throw 28 pitches the other day? He's not going to throw for 3 innings. He might get 1 inning. He might not even pitch at all. Because
the White Sox are realizing that they screwed up again. They threw him too much in the beginning of the year. He is already well ahead of his projected innings target for the season, coming off of Tommy John and everything. He is supposed to be limited, but he has been so good that the White Sox have left him out there to try and shop him to prospective trade partners. He's going to be, especially if he stays with the White Sox, but he is going to be extremely limited for the rest of the season. I'd be surprised if you saw him last into the 5th inning for the rest of the year if he stays in a White Sox uniform.
Like, I feel so bad for those people that were in attendance. Like, we knew he wasn't going to throw, 100 pitches, but, he didn't even throw 30.
Yeah.
Vin, do you think there's any other reason that they would have done that?
I honestly, it wouldn't shock me if Pedro Grifol thinks that they're going to go 50-20 in the second half and compete for a playoff spot. And damn, do they need their ace if they're going to do that. So let's make sure he's fresh. Let's make sure he's ready to go so that this playoff push in the second half can come to fruition. You want to know what's funny? If they went 50-20 in the second half, they wouldn't even sniff the playoffs. I don't even know why I said that like it was funny. If they went 50-20 the rest of the way, I'm pretty sure they would end
they would still be under 500.
Yeah, oh yeah. Because right now
they have 71 losses. They are 10 losses away from guaranteeing that they will finish under 500. They will be guaranteed to be an under 500 team by the end of July.
Yes.
They're very good. They're a fantastic squad.
But no, Pedro Grifol's got to keep Garrett Crochet in good shape for the playoffs push.
How is Pedro Grifol not fired yet? They have the worst record ever going into the All-Star break. Ever.
The only thing I can think of is Jerry doesn't want to look stupid. Chris gets
fucking too late.
Has no control. Well, yeah, he doesn't want to look extra stupid, which I think keeping him makes him look extra stupid, not getting rid of him. I actually respect people who accept their losses and admit their mistakes with hires. Or bad draft picks. When the Cardinals drafted Rosen and Murray back-to-back years, I had mad respect for them when they took Murray because they were like, oh, we screwed up. We took Rosen. He stinks. We're off of him in 1 year. We're not going to hold on to him even though it clearly sucks like the Bears did with Mitch and Justin. I respect that with teams. The White Sox don't do that. They have no interest in it. And so, in their point of view, it's probably well, we're 27-71 or whatever. Why would we fire Pedro now? What's that going to do for us?
Nobody wants that job. That is not true. I would take that job in a heartbeat. You know how much more that job pays than my current job?
Well, anytime there's only 30 of one kind of job, and it's a very, very highly paid 1 out of 30. But I mean, compared to other opportunities,
No, in all
I see
reality,
the point.
PZ makes a very good point. Nobody wants that job. That's part of why I'm sure he hasn't been fired, is because how are you going to replace him?
And
Let's
who do
be
you
honest.
hire?
They want Skip Schumacher. That's who they want.
I think they do. I think Jerry would go back to Tony in a minute.
I don't think Tony would want to come back.
I don't think Tony's friends, family, or health professionals would allow him to.
Yeah, that's true. That's
probably true too. That is probably true.
I think he is with the White Sox in the greatest capacity he is able to be with the White Sox in.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to use this moment of the show to give a weather disclaimer for both Vincenzo and myself. There's some major storms going through the area.
Huge. Might be hearing sirens in a couple minutes.
I don't know if Vinny's getting it right now. I'm about to get it. I'm under a tornado warning. I think Vinny probably is as well.
My parents are just a little bit down the road. I have not heard a siren yet, but I know my parents in Elgin are currently under a tornado warning.
So, yeah, just put that out there in case Vinny and I magically disappear.
Yeah.
That's probably what happened. So, just want to put that out there.
Well, Joe, if you go, the stream goes with you, so.
No, it keeps going until I come and stop it. That's what happens.
Oh, well, then I guess this is my show if you guys leave, so. Good luck with that, everyone.
If I disappeared, then you guys message Aldo to come either stop it or just stop it.
Because he's so far away from you guys.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I completely understand. I hope that you guys are safe up there and that it just passes by you.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, the show just goes on with darkness and no one here for a while until I get back on.
There you go.
Like the White Sox season.
Yeah. Yes.
We've done
It'd be more entertaining, that's for sure. So Gunnar Henderson didn't do anything. I think he's already eliminated.
He is.
That's not shocking to me. That's not his style of ball.
No. But, he and Adley have gone hand in hand for their early careers, so it's only right that he goes in after Adley performed pretty well last year.
Very true. So, yeah, the Derby's going to continue to go on. We're just going to shoot the shit about other things. Why not? We're only at 37 minutes, so. I don't know, Vin, what do you got exciting to talk about? You just wrapped up the hockey season with a bow on Bar Down. I don't know if you want to talk about that. You got NHL, the newest version. I texted you that it was the free game on PS5, so I got to get a lowdown on that too. You're on mute, my friend.
Complete accident. What was I going to say? Oh, you asked me about Bar Down. Bar Down is going to be probably like 2-3 week hiatus, taking a little break. I've never taken a break on that show. So we're giving it 2 to 3 weeks. I have to find a time slot for it, a new time slot for it. But it's coming back within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I'm already pissed because I want to talk so bad. Boston College has like 5 guys that were drafted that are going to go play for them next year, including a bunch of kids that were drafted in the first round. And then they have this kid, Hagens. I don't even know Hagens' first name. That's how he's kind of a little new on the average person, especially. They've probably never even heard of him yet, but like the hockey fans are just starting to learn about him. There's a chance he's the number 1 pick next year, and he's going to play his freshman year at BC this year. So that team's going to be nasty, and I want to talk about it so bad, and I have to wait a couple more weeks.
All that just to try to compete with South Dakota and DU, huh?
DU is just, and then, yeah, there are a lot of really good teams, but Boston College, man, if they can't beat Denver next year, they're never going to. We'll see if Booyam signs with the Minnesota Wild. If he goes back to Denver for another year, they're going to be super scary. But, yeah, Bar Down, a little bit of a break, going to come back to it. I did get NHL 24. My buddy Cale Makar is on the cover. Where did Cale Makar go to college? I think was it Vermont? No, I forget. but he one of the best players in the league. But I was in a weird era of my video game career in last fall because I still had Xbox One
UMass.
as my UMass. That's what it is. I still had Xbox One as my most recent console, but I got
Sure.
PlayStation 5 at Christmas, and
That worked to your benefit, sir, because now you got the game for free as part of PlayStation Plus this month.
Exactly. And I'm still going to play it for the summer, along with NCAA, along with a couple other things. And I'll get the new Chell when it comes out, but I like playing the old one for the rest of the summer. There's plenty of kids still on it. It's different. It's not like the other Chells from the past. I've heard a lot of things. A lot of people don't like it. I enjoy playing it just because at its core,
Especially
it's still
for
a
free.
hockey video game. Yeah, especially for free. But I'll get NCAA on Friday, and I'll be playing that, winning 10 straight titles with NIU. I think I've said that like 100 times by now.
Yeah,
but
it came out today officially for those that paid an extra $1 billion for it.
Yeah. That's true.
Today at 4 p.m. Eastern.
And I saw so many
all
people
over my Twitter feed.
Well, I saw so many people tweet the exact same meme of some kind of video game rig getting destroyed. I saw one PlayStation 5 at the bottom of a bathtub, and it was all had the same caption: "Threw a pick in my first throw of the game," or something like that. And it's just all these pictures of like broken video game sets. I'm like, come up with a different joke, someone. Whoever did it first, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw at least 10 people tweet the same thing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it.
Me too.
Probably not going to pick it up on Friday because I go to New York on Saturday. So it's kind of, although I could try to bring my Portal and see if it would work from there, but I'm not going to test that bad boy. Hotel Wi-Fi is sketchy.
Yeah, that's a big old maybe.
It's going to be a no for me, dog. I'll play it when I get home. But yeah, cool. Vin, Zim, you have been in Paint-A-Palooza, getting settled in. Have you had any time for anything other than painting and house stuff? Probably not.
Not really, no. I'm in full blown house mode. Just been painting various different parts of the house. Been getting ready for an event here in town. I live in a small town of about 5,000 people. We got an event coming up this weekend that's expected to bring about 15 to 20,000 people through. So,
what event would that be?
It's called Ragbri. It's a cycling event that people literally start on one side of Iowa and they cycle all the way across to the other side of the state. They do it every year. They've done it for like 40 or 50 years now. So it's a big thing. It's a huge stimulus for a lot of places around the state, a lot of small towns that they stop through. So it's pretty cool that they get to come through town and everything, but it's also like kind of crazy. Like we got to gear up for it and everything. And, my wife's going to volunteer at it. We're going to come through. I'm going to take care of the boys, but me and the boys are going to come through and check it out and everything and see how it's all going. Yeah, Travis, speaking of the boys, everybody's doing great. We got a nice big yard to go running around in. So they're out and about. My oldest is getting ready to start football in the fall.
Hell yeah.
He took a season off. I kind of pushed him into sports at first, like try it, do this, do that. See what you like, see what you don't like. If you try it and you hate it, I'm not going to make you keep doing it. But if you try it and you like it, well, you wouldn't have known if you hadn't tried, right? So he took a season off. We're going to go do some flag football, though, help him continue to learn the game. I am personally not an advocate of tackle football for kids under the age of like 12. Just because I feel that you don't learn the game very well when you're more worried about getting hit. So to me, it's very much, learn the game first, then worry about the rest of it. The technique, the intricacies, this, that, and the other thing. So like I say, he's going to be starting up flag football. And yeah, he's real excited about that. We were talking baseball, but nah, we're in football territory. And the best part is, unlike Colorado, where I just moved from, the leagues here are not on Sundays. So I can actually watch NFL football and go to my kid's game and not have to pick one or the other like some sort of terrible parent.
That's awesome, dude. I love that you set me up perfectly on the transition. And by the way, I'm getting hit with this storm now, so if I disappear, sorry. But you start talking about football, and man, it's exciting to see that your kid's going to start to get into it. But you brought up football, and I got to start talking. I'm getting excited about fantasy football, man. I know, the fever is starting to set in. One of my leagues, the Goon League, the big money league I just set up the draft day. It's going to be the Sunday before the start of the season. We got draft order figured out, getting pumped up. We're going to be doing Adam, Tooch, myself. We're going to be doing some fantasy draft preview shows coming up here in August. So we're finalizing all that info, getting ready to talk football, get you ready for your draft, talk strategy. How many running backs do you take? What do you take in the first round? What do you do with your pick? I got lucky in my Goon League draft. I got the 10th pick. That's my first time ever getting the 10th pick with the snake around, with the wraparound.
It can be so clutch.
I'm very excited for it. It's the first time I've had it probably in like 6 or 7 years.
It's funny when you get that 10th pick, it hits you in your soul. And you're like, oh, what did I do to deserve this? And then you realize, like, wait a second, I get back-to-back picks every time.
Yeah.
Nice. And then you also kind of realize, like, wait a second, I get like 20 minutes in between picks to go get wings, go get drinks, go watch an episode of my favorite show, get lost on TikTok, like whatever.
Well, that's not happening as a commissioner, but yes, for some people, and plus I pay overly too much attention to every single move that every single person makes, but
that's fair.
The good news is in a 10-man league, it shouldn't be that long of a draft.
Now our barroom league is up to 12 men this year again, right?
It was 12 last year. I'm trying to decide. So that's part of the reason I brought this up, because I want to talk about it on the air. First and foremost, are the two of you still going to partake in the barroom league?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we will still participate in the South Burbs Hitmen League.
Well, there's 3 of us in there.
We are okay. Even when there were 4 of us on the show, all 4 of us were in that league as well. So we are technically the only show on the network that has every member of the show in the fantasy league.
This is true.
Even Fantasy Football Goon for at least one season didn't have every member of the show in the league.
This is true because the league was full and Adam, well, he did end up joining when Spaceball quit.
When Spaceball quit, yeah.
And he turned that team around and somehow almost made it a playoff team, which is mad respect.
Hey, I did my typical thing. Take everybody out with haymakers and then take a shit in the playoffs. I did it in both leagues again last year. Every year, man.
Mm-hmm.
I am so good at putting together a regular season team, but as soon as the playoffs roll around, I'm like, I might as well hand the phone to my 3-year-old and say, pick my lineup.
It's going to be fun, man. I'm ready for football. I'm ready to watch the Bears. I saw Adam Rank's season predictions came out today. I don't know if you guys saw that. He predicted the Bears record. He went 1 by 1 through the schedule.
17-0?
No. He had him winning 12 games and making the playoffs, which after looking at it's possible.
I enjoy Adam Rank, but I tend to not listen to him when he comes to the Bears because he lets his fandom come through a lot, and that's okay. It's just when I'm looking for national coverage, I like to remove the bias.
Sure. I mean, Tooch and I still play in a fantasy league with Adam Rank, so that's always fun. I won it, I think, in the first or second year, and I think Tooch, I don't know if Tooch won it yet or not.
Did I know this?
Did you know this? I don't know.
I don't think I knew that. You play in a fantasy football league with Adam Rank?
Yes, I do.
We can join one with him too. The man's an addict.
I believe it. Hey, most of the people that cover the Bears, like, maybe not on as much of a national scale as Rank, but like feel like Biggs and all those guys, they all freaking hate the Bears. I feel like they all will go. They're the opposite. So when I think of like whose brain do I listen to on the Bears, I'm like Zim, Joe, and Aldo. That's whose brain I listen to on the Bears. Like everybody else is so negative, and then Adam America's a tad bit overly positive sometimes. So like, yeah, Aldo, Zim, Joe.
Yeah, I'm really thinking about, my strategies for fantasy this year. I've been thinking about them for about 2 weeks now. Kind of starting to assign my values to players and everything. I think my number one is not, anything controversial by saying like Christian McCaffrey's got to be your number one.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty standard. I mean,
but I think like my second running back that I'm like that's the guy to target. I think might be a little controversial, and I want to talk about it with you guys, but I'm in a league with you guys, so.
Well, I mean, I would never go out of my way to say something that someone wanted. Like the only way I would take your guy is if I truly believed he was the guy I needed in that position.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like an honor system amongst people who take fantasy football as seriously as I do. I know you guys do.
Yeah.
Well,
does that person play?
You take it seriously? Because I remember 2 years ago you auto drafted, and last year you forgot to set your lineup at least once. So
I think that did happen to me last year. But I think I made the playoffs in the Barroom League.
Vinny drafted from the Sox game last year.
That's what true. I think. That's what you're thinking of. I think I made the playoffs in the Barroom League last year. I won the Guillotine League 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm 10-3-1. I was in one 8-person fantasy baseball league. I'm 10-3-1. I've got one fantasy hockey chip. It's been far too long since I won fantasy hockey, though. But yeah, Zim, I take it serious.
Yes, he does.
Does your guy play for the Chicago Bears?
No, I genuinely think my number 2 this season has got to be Saquon Barkley.
That's interesting, Tig.
And it's
number 2 overall,
singularly because, number 2 running back. I don't know about number 2 overall, but number 2 running back for sure. And the biggest reason is Philly's line is still good even without their center. And the fact that they don't have their center means that the tush push is likely gone. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to snipe as many of those touchdowns this year as he did last year. The number of those 1-yard touchdowns, because I had him in one or both of my leagues. I don't remember, but I know for sure I had him in one of my leagues. And the amount of notifications I would get that say 1-yard touchdown, Jalen Hurts.
What was your reason for it not being as effective next year?
Hurts?
Yeah.
Because Jason Kelsey won't be there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah. Without Kelsey there, I just don't see how that play works nearly as well. Every team in the league can try it, but only one team could do it, and it's because they had the best center in the game.
Well, let's be honest. Philly was trashed pretty much the second half of the season. So
they really were. And that's the other thing. They didn't have a very good running game. And I think that Saquon can fix a lot of that. I mean, it's just –
listen, Saquon's great. I got to get my rankings together. That's kind of what I'm starting to do here. I like Saquon. I don't know if I like him second best running back, but I do like him this year. And I got to dig back into something you talked about, and that was you're like, oh, I don't want to tell you guys what I'm going to do. The beauty. Oh, man, that was loud. Do you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, man. All right. It's coming. Oh, wow. It's monsoon out there. Fun. But I do a fantasy show and I do rankings, and I try to do rankings almost every week. So like every time I do a draft, the people I'm playing with pull up my rankings.
They just walk in there and take your yeah.
And then I have the guy I'm drafting with. He's like, every year, my buddy Nick, who's in my Goon League, he'll go, what's the link to your rankings? I'm like, you'd like it, wouldn't you?
That's funny. I also think the three of us are smart enough and opinionated enough where, like, okay, if Joe has Saquon 4, but Zim has him 2, Zim's not going to see Joe's ranking at 4 and be like, you know what? Actually,
I don't want
changed
him.
My mind.
Right.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what I love about doing fantasy football Goon with you, Joe, is that we get on there and like we are way less polite than we are on this show. On this show, it's so much like, Joe, like I get where you're coming from, but I disagree. We get on Fantasy Football Goon and Joe's just like, Zim, you're wrong. You are point blank stupid for thinking that.
I don't know if I go that candid, but
but you know what I mean? We dig in a little further.
We dig in, we give our explanations. Everyone's got their opinions when it comes to fantasy. I mean, if everyone knew what was going to happen every week, we'd all be millionaires. So
what about my guy Bijan Robinson?
He's got the right situation now.
Again.
All right.
If they don't use him this year, then it's over. But he's got all the weapons. He's got the pieces.
No, I think Bijan is more likely to do well than Kyle Pitts. That's for sure. But I also think that Kyle Pitts could have a career year with Kirk Cousins there. Cousins
I was about to say
tight ends.
Kirk Cousins is going to use Pitts. He's going up in my rankings. I'll give you guys a sneak peek of that part.
Cousins made us think that Irv Smith was a legitimate option for a few years.
He looked it, and then he got another quarterback.
The guy can use tight ends. So
is Kirk Cousins a starting quarterback in a 10-person league?
In a 10-person league, no. In a 12-person league, yes.
He should be rostered, though.
Oh, there's no reason not to.
I don't do backups.
I know you don't.
He should be on a roster. I mean, Kirk Cousins, legit, I'm not just saying this. I don't have him inside my top 10. But, Kirk Cousins could easily end up in the top 5.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
Mahomes, the big problem is their lack of weapons outside,
Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, that's the top 4. Undoubtedly. I think you probably have Justin Herbert.
I don't know if I keep Allen that high anymore.
Herbert's a hard inclusion in there for me right now.
And Herbert as well. They've both fallen off because of their core. Yeah.
That's true. Okay.
I'm not saying that he's not a talented quarterback. I'm just not sure.
Oh, of course not. I know what you mean. It's that does impact fantasy football. It's not best player. It's most productive.
It's why I think that Caleb Williams is a legitimate, top 15 fantasy quarterback this year.
Caleb's got all the pieces around him. He's definitely needs to be drafted. I think everyone listening to the show is probably going to draft him.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is, I mean, if you just objectively look at it, if you look at the roster versus the player, you look at the Bears offensive roster and you think, yeah, this quarterback should be in the top half of the league stats wise. So to me, that automatically is okay, that's good enough. And then the fact that he's the number 1 pick, just kind of amplifies that. So,
sure.
Beyond that, I don't really know. I don't really know that Caleb is that much more of a favorite over some other guys in the division, like Jared Goff or Jordan Love. As much as I hate to admit it, the Packers may have freaking done it again.
It's too hard to tell right now.
It's only one season.
I unequivocally think they did it again. I hate myself for saying this. Hate myself. But, yeah, they did it again. I don't know if they did it to the degree that they did it the last 2 times. Top 10 all-time guy. But,
which one of those guys was top 10 all-time?
You're not going to tell me Rodgers and Favre aren't top 10.
I might give it to Favre. Rodgers is the most overrated player I've ever seen play the game.
Wow.
Literally take away his Super Bowl, and what has he ever done?
Well, that's an argument to be made. There's no doubt. In the playoffs, he became what we thought Peyton Manning was going to become, the perennial playoff.
He's Phillip Rivers with a ring. What is the difference? What is, honest to God, the difference?
I like Phillip Rivers for the record.
I mean, I'm not saying that Rivers was a bad quarterback. I'm just saying unequivocally he's not top 10 all time.
Cumulative stats might get Rivers into the Hall of Fame.
And to be honest, Drew Brees is probably in a similar boat to Aaron Rodgers. I think Drew Brees is closer to Aaron Rodgers than Aaron Rodgers is to Peyton Manning.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
I mean, I genuinely think that if you're considering Aaron Rodgers to be top 10 all time, then you have to put Drew Brees up there too. And then you got to knock 2 legitimate players out of that top 10.
It's a fair argument. Excuse me.
There's a lot of recency bias that goes into play with Aaron Rodgers. And I think that's all there is to it. I genuinely think that he is one of the most overrated players of all time. I think the man is Jay Cutler with better weapons and more consistency. You know, I mean, more consistency in his coaching staff. You put Jay Cutler on the Packers instead of the Broncos. I mean, that is a Hall of Fame talent. You know?
Yeah, I think Rodgers' ability to avoid turning the ball over was like something I only but maybe if Jay played on a different
okay, but
team
the
with a
only
different
reason that he
situation.
didn't turn the ball over is because he threw the ball away rather than trying to make a play.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean, if Favre was a gunslinger, then Rodgers is the exact opposite.
That's true.
I mean, there was a season, I believe it was Devontae Adams' second to last season, or maybe his last season with the Packers, where the Packers wide receiver room went 1 in terms of targets for the season. It went 1 Devontae Adams, 2 the sideline.
That's funny.
That is not an exaggeration. He literally threw the ball out of bounds more than he threw it to anyone not named Devontae Adams.
That's funny. That's very funny. I think I remember seeing something along those lines. That's very funny.
It's just
that's just one of those stats that's like, damn. Point taken.
if that was anybody else, like that would not be a trivia question. It would be a ha funny thing.
Yeah.
You know, if that was Jay Cutler, we would all know that stat off the top of our head.
Yeah. Even if you took it a step further and said like that was Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Or Joe Burrow.
So
that's funny.
I mean, that's just my whole thing there. I think the guy gets more credit than he's ever deserved. I think his offensive line and his wide receivers were better than he ever was. I think his coaches, all right, maybe that one's a stretch because Mike McCarthy is something else, but Mike McCarthy is also currently being hamstrung by Jerry Jones and still willing that team to be above 500. So maybe he's better than we really thought he was.
This is true. We did a good question from Trav a minute ago. Have you ever done a 2 QB league?
I have.
I have not. I've always been interested in one, but I've never done one.
It's kind of crazy town. It's crazy town.
It's hard. I hate it.
Hard, but it's fun. But you got to draft really smart.
Yeah, absolutely. I think quarterbacks are higher valued by a lot. I would consider Patrick Mahomes with the first overall pick in a 2 QB league.
Yeah, that's totally fair. That's totally fair. Honestly, I would love to do a defensive player league where you draft.
I've done it.
Or you take one player instead of a defense as a whole.
I've done it.
You get points for tackles, sacks, interceptions, things like that. So like, because that gets fun because it's like, where do you pick the strategy? You know, you take Jalen Johnson going up against Bryce Young, or do you go for Micah Parsons going up against the Commanders? You know.
Mm-hmm. It's wild. It's the longest draft you ever have in your life too, so I don't recommend it.
Okay.
It's like 8 hours.
It does add extra time. There's no.
It takes forever. So, especially when you're in a giant league, don't recommend. If that's your cup of tea and you want to do it with 8 or 10 guys, not so bad. But anything bigger than that,
you know what I would love to do? Like a 3-team league with just the 3 of us here. And you do a 22 roster league, literally one guy for every position.
No thanks.
I think that would be awesome.
I would do it.
It would be fun if it wasn't like you said, as long as we keep it.
Well, that's why I say like just the 3 of us. You can't do too many people in a league like that because then it just turns into Madden connected franchise.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
But you do it like just a small group of guys. You know, I'm talking 5 or less.
Sure.
You do a full roster, 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense, maybe even do 24. So you get a punter and a kicker in there too.
Yeah, it's crazy talk.
Joe, it is going crazy over there.
It's going absolutely nuts. I'm watching out the window and I'm like, Holy fuck.
About 3 weeks ago now, we got 7 inches overnight, dude. And it sounded
Wow.
like that over there for like 8 hours, 10 hours straight. It was
Wow.
bananas. So I hope it's at least a shorter storm than that.
Well, it sounds like something exploded out there. Hopefully it wasn't a power line.
We had one of those on the 3rd of July. When something exploded. Everybody just assumed it was a firework, and it was a power transformer. So
Wow.
Yeah, I'd rather not have that happen.
yeah.
Oh, one of the best part about if there's a power outage here, we got my daughter in her room like this new fan. You guys may have seen it. It's got the fan built in to the light,
Okay.
so it's
Yeah.
on one switch, right? And you have the
Yep.
remote. So you turn the light off on the switch, but you leave the fan on at night or whatever, right? For the kid. If the power goes out and it comes back on, that light goes back on.
Ah.
It happened twice, and that's it. And I didn't have any real power outages. We just had where the power company's doing something on their end,
Mhm.
and they
it
switch it and it
flicks.
goes off for like a split second.
Yep.
So I'm like
Damn.
watching the power. I'm like, because one morning I woke up at like 5 a.m. to take my dog to go to the bathroom, and I was like, why is my daughter's light on? Wild.
That's funny.
Nope. That's why my son's light is his night light at least is battery powered, so that there's no chance of losing it during a power outage or any other electricity interfering with it. I mean, those fixtures though, I know the ones you're talking about. They're nice. I like
They're
them.
very nice. It's great. It's just, unfortunate that, when a power outage happens, that's the only downside to it. But
Yep.
anyway, it's a great fixture. It's fun. As soon as this show ends, I'm going to run in my basement and check everything to make sure we're all good. The homeowner in me is always terrified when it's a massive downfall of rain.
Dude, I get it. I am looking at previous water damage in my basement right now, and I know that it's all good. I have personally inspected it all, in addition to having a home inspector go in with a thermal and infrared camera and make sure that this is not current damage. This has already been repaired and everything's good. But I get that paranoia,
Yeah, we had one window well that there was some leaves down there, and the drain got clogged one time.
Yep.
It poured, and I went down into my basement, and the window well was this far full of water, and it started dripping through the inside. And I got out there with a shop vac and emptied it, but a little bit of water got in,
You're sitting there in pouring rain with your shop vac dug all the way into the window well. And
I was drenched. I had to get out. I went outside and I got in to the window well because I didn't want to let all that in the house. So
Yep. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen it. It looks like a fish tank when you're looking out that window.
Yeah. Now I've got Ring cameras installed by all the windows just for these instances, so I don't have to. But the only downside is when it's dark outside, it's kind of hard to see what's going on in the window. So
yeah, that's fair.
But I don't see anything right now. I've been watching, but it's raining cats and dogs, folks, here in the Midwest. I'm sure Vinny's getting the rain too right now.
Yeah, I haven't heard much thunder or seen much lightning in a minute, but I definitely know it's raining.
Yeah, they said up to 80, 85 mile an hour winds, so I'm hoping that that's not the case.
Meanwhile, it's still 85 degrees here.
Well, the good news, it's supposed to be clear after this for a week.
Oh, that's nice.
Travis says no basements in Texas. I guess that I didn't know that.
Yeah, they just pour a slab.
Interesting.
They just pour a slab and build it right on top. You don't have to worry about a lot of the same things down there. Any place that's affected by hurricanes, they're up on stilts or behind flood walls. And throughout most of the rest of the state, they just build straight on a slab because you don't really have to worry about extreme weather too much. Just heat.
Yeah.
You throw 3 air conditioners on your house and you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm not jealous of the heat, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be hot when I'm in New York this weekend and into next week. It's going to be in like the 90s. It's going to be hot.
You headed into New York City or upstate?
No, into the city. My wife's got a work event down there, and I'm tagging along for the ride.
Hell yeah. I would love to go back there.
Seeing some Broadway shows, trying to, the wife being pregnant, trying to keep out of the heat. So
Yep. You mentioned the shows you're going to.
Yeah, Wicked and Back to the Future. I'm excited to see both of them, but Back to the Future, I'm intrigued to see. I heard what they do with the car is pretty cool.
Yeah, that'll be great to see, man.
Yeah, that will. I love Back to the Future.
And New York City food will be fun. I've got to get some za while I'm there.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many viral places. I'm not going. I promised my wife when we go for the first time, we'd go together. And I can't go by myself without her. I just would feel terrible.
All right.
So I'm going to go to a fancy sushi spot called Sugarfish, which I've been before. It's fantastic.
Right. You mentioned that last week.
And then there's a place called Hamburger Heaven, I think, or like Hamburger America. It's, if you look it up on TikTok or whatever, it's like this super viral place, and they make like every style of hamburger in the history of the United States. You could try, like, it just looks unbelievable. I'm going to try to find a way to get there.
That's pretty great.
I mean, there's nothing better than like a perfectly terrible burger. Oh my. It's raining sideways now. I'm starting to see the trickle on the window. So it's not it's dripping into the window well. So
you're clear.
I don't know if I'm clear or not. I can't tell if that drip is on the inside of the window or the outside.
Well, I tell you, Joe, I am totally fine to wrap if you want to go take care of your home.
think I'm going to go wrap because I have not seen this before. I don't like it. And hopefully it is not anything bad. I will apologize.
It is me. Wow, that scared the shit out of me. I can't wait to go back and watch that clip. I might clip it and put it on Twitter. Tornado warning in this area. Take shelter now in a basement or an interior room.
Well, perfect timing to end the show. Fun stuff, talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. Thanks to the whole chat room for hanging out. I'm going to go check out my basement with this crazy rain. Vinny's going to take cover.
Yeah.
And Zim is going to go just enjoy his evening. So for the South Burbs Hitmen, I'm Joe Mandel, Steven Zim Zimmerman, and Vinnie Parisi. We'll see you guys next week. Actually, I'm supposed to be in New York. We'll figure that out. It'll be a whole conversation. But until then, we'll see you guys. Have a great weekend. And go White Sox.